Will you drink to the earth and to the days which have passed upon it? Will you drink to the fullness which was, and to friends who have passed on?
They believe that you should not have a firearm to protect yourself, but you should pay for them to have firearms to protect them. They don't believe that your children should be educated. They believe that they should be indoctrinated. They drag it up that hill, all types of things. CRT, transgenderism, this idea of serving people. Who in the world came up with that garbage? And when the times get tough, you had best believe that Americans get told. Just like they did on Little Round Top. They don't lay down, they don't back up, they don't quit.
You said you would end the war and stop Ukraine suffering.
Yeah.
How?
I negotiate an agreement, a deal with Vladimir Putin, which he's tried repeatedly to do. He gave us 2 deals already and signed one in April of 2022. That was a beautiful deal for our country, a beautiful deal for Ukraine. It would have left Donbass and Lugansk in as part of Ukraine. It would have ended the war. The only thing he wanted, and this is what he said from the beginning, is an agreement with all of us to keep NATO out of Ukraine. And Zelensky signed it, and then Joe Biden sent Boris Johnson over to Kiev and forced Zelensky to tear up that agreement. And 600,000 Ukrainian kids have died since then, all of them unnecessarily. My son fought over in Ukraine. My son was in a Foreign Legion squadron, and he fought in the Kharkiv offensive. But all these kids are dead. None of them needed to die. We had an agreement that would have been good for everybody.
You know, I've been studying some things that are going on about China. We talked about health. We're getting 97% of our antibiotics from China. If they decide to turn that spigot off, we could be in a heck of a lot of trouble. We've got Chinese illegal immigrants coming across the border in record numbers, close to 30,000 in 2023. We've got them buying up farmland, coincidentally, around strategic military installations in the United States. I've got a map that is chilling. That's troublesome, is it not?
Very troublesome. And I've been fighting.
Why is this going on? Why is it being allowed?
The easiest explanation is always incompetence. And I think everything that we do with on the China side, it's deliberative, it's smart, it's rational, and everything that we do is just, it seems to me to be inept. They don't want a war with us, but they do want to compete with us, and I'm not scared of competing with them economically. We need to start projecting economic power abroad rather than military power. It will.
Well, but it's hard for a corporation in America to compete with a government in China because they have forced labor. They don't worry about human rights. They have people working for 47 cents an hour in factories making gloves that we're buying for PPE. How do you compete when you have a free market corporation with minimum wage, human rights considerations, which all should be true, with a government that doesn't have those concerns?
Yeah, I think we need to have fair trade policies rather than free trade policies. Free trade is just a race to the bottom, and that's what, our government officials and trade negotiators have been doing for the past 30 years, is signing agreements that put American labor and American environment at risk and allow those governments to cheat. I don't think that we should do that anymore. When I'm president, we're going to stop doing that.
What are you going to do domestically with these people that are pushing DEI policies and this concept of equal outcome in place of a meritocracy that has made America what it is today?
I believe in equal opportunity, not equal outcome. I'm, against those to the extent that that's what those policies are advocating. I'm dead set against them.
American students celebrating. At first, it was Palestinians, Gazans. That was a thin veil. Then it's just straight up Hamas.
How do you have a negotiation with somebody who, in their charter, it says any negotiation with Israel is against Islamic law? I don't see how you do that. What we saw on October 7th came from a place of pure hatred and evil from people, from kids who are raised from when they're in kindergarten to utterly dehumanize Jews and to be sworn to believe that it's glorious to kill them. I understand that Israel doesn't feel that it can, that there's any ending here if Hamas is left in charge of Gaza. I don't see how you do it. If you want to start a fist fight, just talk about climate and nothing else. And then you're going to have a war and you're not going to get anything done. But if you talk about, how do we reduce our dependence on foreign oil? How do we take care and mountaintop removal mining in the Appalachians? How do we stop the mercury contamination from coal-burning power plants of our fish? Everybody wants that to happen, and they're willing, to fight for it. These issues are framed today in a way that is calculated to keep us at each other's throats. And it's like the jangling keys. It's BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard. They're now trying to buy housing, the residential housing, the agricultural lands. They're jangling the keys over here and say, look at the abortion issue, look at the guns, and look at trans rights. And over here, they're strip mining the wealth from the American middle class. My job is to shrink government and make it less expensive and more efficient. And we have opportunities to do that today. One, the biggest expense is chronic disease in our military-industrial complex. We also can cut waste in government like never before. The Pentagon audit that came out last month showed that they lost $4 trillion. They haven't passed an audit in 20 years. They lost this inventory. They don't know where it is.
What do you mean they lost $4 trillion? They don't know where it is?
They don't know where it is. And most of it is inventory, things they bought that they lost track of. A lot of times they'll buy 2 or 3 or 4 times the same item because they can't find it. But you can use AI walkers to go through all the stockpiles and identify every single thing that's in there so you don't lose anything ever. And you can use blockchain to make sure that every American can see every expenditure from the Pentagon, make sure we're not buying, $16,000 toilet seats. And we have an opportunity now to eliminate waste like nothing before in history. And I have a strategy for doing that and how to get it through Congress. Because that one, we do need to get through Congress.